All right. All right, so we're going to continue where we ended yesterday. And since we already have our project saved in a particular folder in our computer, we will simply go to that particular folder and then we will double click. I hope I'm sharing that particular screen. Yeah, we will double click the name of the project, which is Experiences of Yaoundé City Dwellers on Healthcare Access During COVID. So if I double click, this will open Nvivo and they open this particular project. Another way is to go to Nvivo, open Nvivo, and then click on that same on recent projects. And then you can check that project, or you take open project, and then you will be able to get your project. So welcome, Divine. We're just starting, and we are saying that to open the project, we will simply go to the folder in the computer where the project was saved, and then we will double click on it to save it. So that's where we are now. We'll double click on it to open it, I meant to say. So the project, if I share the Nvivo screen, you'll see it says opening project. So maybe taking some time because I'm sharing my screen. Let's just be patient for a bit and see if it opens. If not, I may have to stop sharing my screen. I open it, then I share the project. So it's taking some time to open. Okay. All right. I'm sure you can see my screen now. So when you double click on the project, it will open. And what will make you to be sure that that project is what you have opened is the name of the project on the top left on your navigation pane. So if I point my cursor on the top left of my navigation pane, you can see that we have experiences of Yaoundé city dwellers on healthcare access during the COVID period. Another way to confirm is to come over to files and you click on files. When you click on files, you will see all the files that you have imported into your project. Okay, sorry for that interruption. Can you hear me? Just to be sure.
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. All right, so these are our files, the files we imported yesterday. And I hope we have done our assignment. If we come over to cases, we come to case classifications, we'll see that we have the cases who, well, in this case, or in this, I always say in this case, in this project, the cases are our participants. And if I right click on participant and I click on open classification sheet, you will see that I have done my assignment. I hope we all have done our assignment. You see that participant 1 to 9, I have their attributes well filled, the age, their location, and their occupation. We'll not use this for now since we are doing coding today, but maybe tomorrow hopefully when we'll be doing some analysis, we will be able to to see how themes maneuver across maybe gender and maybe across location. We may not be able to use each in this case, or maybe we may use it. We'll see all of that tomorrow. So just to be sure that I did my assignment, so I can close the classification sheet, and now I have my transcript here. Now, in order for us to start coding, we need to code with our objectives in mind. What are we actually going out for to do? We have specific objectives, which I've shared in the group. Let me open the objectives quickly and we look at them before we start coding, so that we will be writing our codes. We'll know what we are coding. If we don't understand our specific objectives, we will not know what we are looking for, because that is what guide us. Those are what the things that guide us in our research, that is specific objectives. So just a minute, let me open the study objectives. You can as well open the study objectives where you are. I shared in the group just a few minutes ago. So if I share that, you'll see that we have the main objective is to explore the experiences of Yaoundé city dwellers regarding healthcare access to socioeconomic disruption and recovery following COVID-19. So this is the main research objective. So we have three things that we are focusing on: healthcare access, economic disruption, and recovery. And if you look at the transcripts or the questionnaires that we imported into Nvivo, you will see that those questionnaires capture this as well. And then our specific objectives, we'll be looking at healthcare seeking behavior. That's the first thing we'll be looking at. We'll be looking at the economic impact on livelihood. We'll be looking at emotional and social consequences. And we'll be looking at perceptions, and then coping and recovery strategies. So I want to emphasize that what I did not say yesterday, let me say it today, that we have two types of coding in qualitative data analysis. We have deductive coding and we have inductive coding. In deductive coding, you already have your themes or you can use your specific objectives, which means this will become the mother of your code, which means you're going to put this as the main names for each code. And then if you identify any code that has to do with healthcare seeking behavior, you can come and put it under this mother code or this cluster. If you identify any sentence that was made by a participant that has to do with the impact on livelihood, you come and put it under livelihood. That's deductive coding. You already have a structured something that is guiding you to do your coding. And the reason why this is not really recommended is that it can make you to be limited to be looking only at what you will rhyme with what you have here. Will have like you're looking only for responses in your transcript that will match with what you have put up already, and you may miss out some themes. You may miss out some important information. So one of the recommended way is to do inductive coding, where you don't have any predefined codes, you don't have any predefined cluster or themes. You just go in with your objective in mind, and then when you read what the participants say, you can be able to create a heading for that. If they say something that has to do with fear or stigma or social exclusion or the impact on poverty, you can create a code on that and then you put that there. So that's what I wanted to emphasize. So as we go in for our coding, bear in mind that we're looking for healthcare seeking behavior. We're looking for economic impact on livelihood. We're looking for emotional and social consequences. We're looking for perceptions of institutional response. That's to the COVID-19. We're looking at coping and recovery strategies of Yaoundé city dwellers. So just bear in mind we're looking for all of this while we do our coding. All right, before we dive into coding, any questions so far? Any question?
Edwin, I've not really grasped the difference between the deductive and what's the other one? I've not really had
Inductive.
the inductive coding. I've not grabbed what is the key difference.
Okay, the key difference is that with deductive coding, you already have a set of themes of objectives that you want to put your code, you want to assemble your code on that particular main headings. You have main headings that you want to assemble your code under those headings, which can come from your specific objectives. So if we're to do deductive coding here, we will bring all of these things that we have shown here. We'll bring all of this. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 main headings in our coding. So for example, let me just show you that. So this is it here. Let's open the first transcript. Okay, good. We've opened the first transcript, and then we look at the first question. I hope you can see. Can you briefly describe your situation during the pandemic? All right, so before the pandemic, life was moving normally for me. When COVID-19 started spreading, everything changed very quickly. Restrictions affected how we moved, work, and interacted, how we moved, worked, and interacted with others. I think, let me reduce this so that we can see everything. And then I had to adjust to a completely new routine. As a market vendor living in Mokolo, Yaoundé, the experience felt very personal and challenging. So, reading this paragraph, if it was deductive coding, you will identify something in this paragraph, and then you will be able to put it under these predefined headings: seeking behavior, economic impact on livelihood, emotional and social consequences, perceptions of institutional response, and coping and recovery strategies. So for me, so we're going to be doing this together. Like we mentioned yesterday, this analysis is researcher centered. So for me, what I have seen here is the fact that everything completely changed. Restrictions affected how we moved, worked, and interacted with others, and I had to completely adjust to a new routine. So I have this. What can we put as a summary for this sentence? What summary can we give for this sentence? Which word or which 2 words can you use to qualify what this participant is saying here?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, Edwin. Sorry. I don't know. I've been looking for where to raise my hand up since I'm attending on my phone. I don't know. I cannot
Okay.
see. I just have to come in.
Mm.
Not just directly to answer your question. First of all, I wanted to throw a little bit highlight on deductive and inductive when coming out with teams for coding. I think one other method we use for inductive, it's when if you have what you call an analysis plan based on the objective and the specific objectives of the assessment of the survey you're conducting. I think if you can establish an analysis plan right after establishing maybe the specific objective and even probably define the questions for the assessment, then that will be another tool or another document that you can refer to establish your teams, and it's another sort of analysis or inducive method of developing your teams when doing when planning for at this particular level for the analysis. That's just what I just wanted to add. So looking at coming back to your question, looking at the restrictions affected how we move, worked, interacted with others, and had to adjust to a complete new routine. Please, can we go back to the objective of? Can you can you can you project the objectives of this assessment? We can identify a team from there.
Okay.
Okay.
Just
Have
to for our participants to be clarified, what you are explaining where we begin with a data analysis plan is inductive or deductive?
it's for me. It's inductive. It's
Okay.
inductive in the sense that
Mm-hmm.
you are inducing from already from the plan. You can establish themes from key points of the analysis plan that will guide you at the level of the coding.
Okay, we may have to check that again because for my literature is deductive because is the deduce is making a conclusion based on something. So if you already have a predefined uh, analysis plan with some themes, some predefined objectives that you want to use, it means you now want to conclude on what your participants say based on what you
Oh
already have.
yes,
So
yes,
it's
yes,
deductive.
yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's deductive. Yes,
All
yes.
right.
Thank you, thank you. It's deductive. Yes, I just got mixed up on that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. So, Madam Lucrez, is it clearer? I think Mr. David's point is clear. Very clear. Yes, Divine.
Um,
Yes, Madam Lucrez, go on before Divine comes in.
I've understood now the deductive, but what makes it different from the inductive? That's what I was waiting for the second part of the
Yes, for inductive, we don't have
question.
any predefined the analysis plan. We don't have anything that we are going to put our codes on. That will just define our codes based on the fact that we have these themes in our mind. Anything that comes up from our research, as long as it fits what we are looking for, we code it. We just code like that without having anything at the background that we must put it under this particular topic or this particular heading. Yes, Divine. You want to throw more light?
No, I don't want to throw more light. I wanted to ask that do we have are we accepted to use both, or maybe do we have opportunities where you can be able to that freedom to use both an inductive, a mixed way? I don't know if it exists, but I'm asking so that you can use, like, you could start with a deductive way, then along the line you see some themes that are emerging, and then you just add it up. That's my question.
That will depend on your research. If you are going out to look for particular things, like in this our research, if we are so focused on these 4 5 things, seeking behavior, and we are not interested in any other thing that may emerge, we are strictly bound to this, then we are strictly going to use deductive. But if we are open to discovering new things, because these are what we have in mind, but we can have new themes emerge that are not even directly that are indirectly related to some of these. If your research objective shows that you have the flexibility to bring out some things, you're not confined to particular major topics to look for, then you use inductive. But to use mixed method, personally, I have not seen or learned of a research where you use deductive and then you see a new theme comes up and then you use inductive. I know that you can either use deductive based on your research topic, based on what you're looking for, or you use inductive. And I recommended is to use inductive because it gives you a free mind. You don't have anything at the background. You are not forced to put quotes under a particular topic. You just quotes based on your objectives, and then at the end you can classify them into themes that are emerging. Because when we say seeking behavior here, it's a broad topic. We have many things under seeking behavior that can come up. We have many themes that can come up under seeking behavior, and many codes can come up under each theme. But again, I think that is a call for, we can still do more research on that. We can read more on that to see if that flexibility is actually allowed. I don't know if that clarifies your worry to somewhat level.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you.
All right, so I prefer that we use inductive coding here so that we have in our mind that we have 5 things: seeking behavior, livelihood, social consequences, perception. You can have this open in your phone, and coping strategy. And then we are looking at what the participants are saying, and they were developing, summarizing what they are saying and putting. At the end of the day, we'll group into clusters, and then we come up with our themes, we do our analysis, and then when we come to write our report, we will then write our report based on what the specific objectives. I don't know if so far we're moving on the same lane. And if that's right, then Mr. David, we go back to you. Let me share that again. This is just what I have had here. This is the text that I have highlighted here. you may have another text that you have seen that we need to highlight and give it a code. Because you will not just highlight this and give a code that has this long name. What does this thing, this sentence, mean as far as our research is concerned? When participants are forced to stay home, when restrictions affect their work and how they interact with others, they are forced to stay home. And they have to adjust to a complete new routine. How can you call this type of thing? So, yes.
Maybe isolation.
Okay, isolation, yes. Okay, so Mr. David, do you have something else in mind?
Yes. If we look at teams and we're looking at it will go under emotional and social consequences.
Okay,
That
that's
would
the theme
that would
already. You are thinking of deductive code, deductive coding now. I just want us to classify it.
okay.
At the end of the day, we'll come
Okay,
to conclusions.
if okay, let's classify that it has to do with restriction.
Okay.
Um,
So,
restriction.
Madame Lucrece says isolation, and then you're given restriction.
Yes.
So, Divine, what do you think? Theodora?
Yeah, I wanted to say like David said restricted access. Or maybe yes, barriers. Oh, no, restricted. Let
Okay,
me
not
say so.
quite. Theodora? Is Theodora with us? She's not. All right, so let's read the sentence again. It begins by saying restrictions affected how we move, worked, and interacted with others, and I had to adjust to a completely new routine. So what was the outcome here? Where all Emma is, right? What's the outcome here? Is it the restriction or what restriction led to? What's the restriction lead to?
It prevented interaction with other persons.
All right. So we are free. I'm free a bit with Madame Lucrece's idea, isolation or limited interaction. Should we use that one? At the end of the day, we may have codes that don't have themes. That's still okay. So what should we?
Yes, I think isolation also has a good stand. Yes.
All right. So we should use isolation.
Because being restricted from interacting with other people, we're being isolated, and there are secondary reasons or consequences that follows with isolation. That's true.
All right. All right. So when you select that particular text, you right click. For now, we'll right click, and you are going to take. Do we have new code? Can't see that. Code selection, sorry. I think Nvivo 15 has changed a lot of things. Code selection, we have selected it. Code selection. And we are doing normal coding, not sentiment coding. So that is okay. And then we are going to take code selection. Very be top level. Is that working? We have to give it a name. What did I do? No, we didn't give it a name. Let me right click here. And anyway, let's just delete it and use another way. So let me close this. So let's click on code first of all. I'm sure we were here, right? We were here. So let's click on code so that the code should open. We click on close, and then after highlighting our text, we just click on it and drag to where we have code. I think it's easier there. So the name here is isolation, right? Then we take OK. So we have one code called isolation coming from one file. If we have another sentence that's do isolation still in this participant script or in another participant script, we'll drag it and come and put it on top of this isolation. So we'll then have two isolations two references if it's from two files. If you have it from this same file, it will become isolation, one file, two references. All right. Is there any other thing that we want to quote from this first answer, this first response? As a market vendor living in Mokolo Yaoundé, the experience felt very personal and challenging. Feeling very personal and challenging, does it have anything to do with inclusion, emotional? Maybe we'll keep coming back to our objectives so that we are guided. If not, we can go to the next question. Does it have anything to do with livelihood? Because the challenge there
I
is not
think
defined.
sorry, I did not raise my hand, but I wanted to say I think the participant was not very precise with the challenge he or she was facing, but in my head, I would look at it as a kind of economic challenge. Maybe due to a restriction, as she's a vendor, people were not coming to buy the things again. I'm I'm having that understanding of the sentence.
Yes, I agree with you. Although the participant has not actually given that, but it's a challenge. It has a challenge, but the challenge is not defined. But we cannot ignore that. So I'll highlight that because she said as a market vendor living in Mokolo, so that already defines something for us, right? The experience felt very personal and challenging. So it is defining the fact that the participant is a market vendor. So I think I agree with Madame Lucrece. Do we have any other thoughts? Divine, Mr. Divine, Mr. David, do we have any other thoughts? If not, we right click, we click, sorry, drag it here, and we give it a new code. Economic challenge. So we now have two codes. All right. I think with that, we can go to the next question, right? All right. The next question is, how did the pandemic affect your ability to access healthcare? So this one, access to healthcare can be a theme. At the end of the day, it can be one of our themes. But let us look for our quotes first of all. Accessing healthcare became more complicated during that time. Some hospitals were crowded and there was fear of infection everywhere. Even going for a simple checkup required careful consideration. As a market vendor living in Mokolo Yaoundé, the experience felt very personal and challenging. I think we will be having this coming up all the time because this is not real world data. So we may have to ignore that at some point. I mean, the last sentence. Since we already coded it, we may not have to ignore it in the other responses. So this response, what do we think? Accessing healthcare became more complicated during that time. Some hospitals were crowded. That crowded, to me, it means something. And there was fear of infection everywhere. That fear of infection, it means something to me. So we can quote, for me, I already have two quotes here. Because if she says, anyway, is it a he or a she? The participants did not say that so obviously were crowded, so they did not go there or they stayed at home. They just say they were crowded, and others were, and there was fear of infection everywhere. So that is the qualification of what the participant meant by overcrowd. Because of overcrowd, people were afraid of infection since area of close contact. Even going for a simple checkup required careful consideration. As a market vendor living in Mokolo Yaoundé, the experience, okay, we'll ignore this last sentence. So for me, if I were to code this, I would say hospitals were crowded and there was fear of infection everywhere. So I'll code this as fear of infection. Do we have anything to add or subtract? Hello?
Yes, we're listening. I was thinking about maybe delay, maybe delaying accessing healthcare services or
Okay.
barrier to healthcare services.
You are thinking more of a theme.
But
That's
I cannot even make the difference.
yes, barrier to healthcare service it can come as a theme, but how will you rephrase this quote, this sentence?
Before, please, I would like to know the difference between those, like what you call a theme
Okay, a
and
theme
what we have
after you have done
mentioned
your
there.
coding, right? You have had all your codes. You will group similar codes together. Like if you have codes that have to do with the barrier to healthcare, maybe fear of infection, overcrowding, stigma. If you have things that can be grouped together to form under one key thing, you group them and then that will form a theme. So you
Okay.
group codes to form a theme or a cluster some people group codes to form clusters. From clusters they form themes, but you can always group codes to form themes directly.
And so the theme is the objectives, like the specific objectives. Like a theme can be a specific objective.
Yes, it can be, and as well as it cannot be, but it should carry other codes. It should be like a mother folder carrying other files, other codes. So like what I'm saying is that if you say that some hospitals were crowded and there was fear of infection everywhere, if you say barrier to healthcare access, it's very good. But then if you were to rephrase this sentence, you have not defined that particular barrier. But in this sentence, the barrier is defined. The barrier here is fear. So you define the various barriers, and then at the end of the day, you can group those barriers now and put them under barriers to healthcare access.
For
Makes
me, the
sense?
barrier I can identify here is kind of like the delay in getting the care because it's crowded. Though they're afraid of the infection, but they are still there. So I think it's also like the time they will need to wait before receiving care.
Okay, again, I'll come back again and we are going to analyze what you say. All right, as a researcher, that is what you are thinking, but is that what the participant is saying? What, at the end of the day, what has the participant, what was the consequence of what the participant has? What was the consequence that the participant has faced or is afraid of?
Fear of infection.
Fear of infection. That's it. You see? So we are being objective. We are just like trying to rephrase what the participant has said without adding any other thing to it. So we highlight, and since we don't have fear of infection in any other code there, we are creating a new code, right? So we drag it there, and then we call it fear of infection. All right. Are we d'accord, Divine? Okay, silence means we are okay, right? Okay, so what about the second sentence? Do we have anything to pick from there? That's why you see that you don't need to go having 30 participants, right? You can have just 9, you can have focus group discussions, maybe 6 focus group discussions, 10 participants, and then you can go ahead with your analysis because you have to take each one and code like this. Even going for a simple checkup required careful consideration. Does it mean anything?
First, it says
For me, it doesn't mean anything. But for me, it's just further details about the fear. Because of fear of infection, they have the participant had to carefully consider their decision, even if they're going for simple checkup. That's what I think. But for you, do you think that it can be a separate code? Because it still qualifies fear. Okay. I think we can move on to the third question. Did you feel safe visiting health facilities? Why or why not? I did not always feel safe visiting health facilities. There were many rumors that people getting infected in hospitals, about people getting infected in hospitals. Unless it was something serious, I prefer to manage at home first. All right. Do we have any? We should have a code here. And how should we qualify that code? Does it come under fear? Does it come under any pre-existing code here?
Yes, I think it still comes under fear of infection.
Okay. I do not feel safe visiting health facilities. There were many rumors about people being infected. Perfect. So we'll drag it and put it under fear of infection. We'll just drop it on top of it. And what do you see? Under fear of infection, we now have 1 file and 2 references. Right? That's what I was explaining at the beginning. All right. Unless it was something serious. Okay, that one is still qualifies it. All right. So question 4. How did the pandemic affect your income or employment? So we're seeing that the questions are also, directly trying to explore our research objectives because we have economic impact there, right? So how did the pandemic affect your income or employment? My income was affected in one way or another. Customers reduced or work hours were cut and expenses remained the same. It was a period of financial uncertainty. All right. Do we have a new code here or an existing code?
Economic, the first one.
Yes, economic challenge, right? My income was affected in one way or the other. Customers reduced or work hours were cut, and it's all about economic, and expenses remain the same. It was a period of financial uncertainty. So we can drag this to economic challenge. We can increase this line here so that we see our codes. Yes, voila. For me, I think that's perfect. Question 6. Social life changed a lot. Okay, now what social changes did you experience during this period? Social life changed a lot. Gatherings were reduced and we could not interact freely like before. Even simple visits to friends became limited. As a market vendor, okay, we'll just keep this one. So here, we already know that this question was asked because we have an objective of social impact. So how can we code this one? Social life changed a lot. How does it change? Gatherings were reduced and we could not interact freely like before. Even simple visits to friends became limited. How can we rephrase this? Theodora, say something. Can you rephrase this, Theodora? She's muted. Gatherings
I
were
think
reduced.
it's
Yes,
isolation.
we could not interact freely like before. Even so, visits to friends became limited. So we can have it under isolation. Did I put, no, I have just, let me undo that. And when I put it under something else. We still talk about isolation.
How did you undo?
I just took Control Z. Yeah, keyboard.
Okay.
Yes. The divine, what are you saying in the group, in the chat? What's the full meaning of BRB, divine? Okay. Question 7. What is your opinion about the government or institutional response? I believe the authorities tried to manage a difficult situation. However, communication was sometimes unclear and not everyone felt supported equally. For me, I see a new code emerging here, lack of communication or communication challenges. But the code should be clear. You see, communication challenges, it might feel like a theme. The code should be clear, should be explicit enough. So for me, I have here lack of, no, not lack, inadequate communication. No, that should be a theme. How should we rephrase this code? Limited communication. Can we use that here?
Or lack of information.
Yes. So we just highlight that, we drag it here, and we have a new code. Lack of information. All right. Then we go to the next question. I think we have nothing else to code there. Question 8. What helped you cope during this period, this time? Support from family and close friends helped me cope. Faith and personal resilience also played a big role in staying hopeful. So here I see two themes, two quotes, sorry. I see support from friends, support from family and friends, and I see support from faith, to say church members. I don't know how we can rephrase this. But the first one, I see support from family and friends. Then the second one, I see support from faith and personal resilience. In fact, we have two themes here, two quotes here. Faith and personal resilience. Are they not two things?
Yes, there are two things.
Yes. So we have faith, and then how can we rephrase this personal? So you can have the same sentence giving you two quotes. How can we put personal resilience? If the words are not coming, we'll just put the personal resilience as a quote. Resilience, right. I think that's fine. Then the last question, what has changed for you now compared to the peak of the pandemic? Compared to the peak period, things are more stable now. Economic recovery is gradual, but people are slowly adapting. Life has not returned fully to normal, but it is better than before. Do we have any quotes here? Compared to the peak period, things are more stable now. How can we qualify this quote?
Can we say gradual improvement? I don't know.
No. Let's just put any word that comes to mind, we'll put it for now. When we'll be arranging the quote, we might still adjust. There's no problem. All right, then, is there any other thing? Okay, economic recovery is gradual, but people are slowly adapting.
Slow adaptation.
Or slow recovery. Can we say slow recovery? So there's recovery, but to this participant is slow. Life has not returned fully to normal. That's slow recovery. And but it is so we could still have all of this. Let me undo that. Let me undo that, and then we take the whole sentence. Plus, life has not returned to normal, but it is better than before. Let's take the whole this sentence, so that we don't miss out on vital information. Because when we are doing our analysis, we may have to quote one or two participants, and we may need this quote to put there. So we can put our slow recovery here. Slow recovery. All right. So we are through with the first participant. Once we are through with the first participant, we can always close. And then we can come back to files. And then we can open the second participant by double clicking. And then we can come back to code and open our code, and then we start coding the second participant. All right, so should we code the second one, or we give ourselves as an assignment to code maybe 2, 3, 4, maybe up to 5 of this, and then or I do the coding. You just practice. I do the coding, and then I share my own project with you so that we can do analysis. Or we should do the second one.
I think that yes, we should do a second one, but that you should do the coding and we'll also practice on our sites. Then when you share yours, we're just going to try and compare if we did something similar so that we could go fast with the analysis.
All right, all right. Okay, so we'll quickly do the second participant, and then okay, please, I'm in another meeting. All right, all right, all right. That's Theodora. No problem. We're going to share the recording, and she will follow.
Please, I have a question.
Okay.
You see where we did these cases under case classifications where you named participants.
Yeah.
Yes, when I was doing mine, I named it cases, so it's kind of confusing. I don't know how I can rename that.
Is it possible to right click and rename classification properties? Yes, you can.
Okay.
Just right click and take classification properties, and then you can rename it. All right, let us see this person who is a taxi driver. We'll go quickly this time around. Before the pandemic, life was moving normally for me. When COVID started spreading, everything changed very quickly. Restrictions affected how we moved, worked, and interacted. I think it's the same thing, huh?
Yes, it's the same thing.
All right, no problem.
It's
I will
exactly.
redo the scripts and share so that we can code. Since I use
Let's try with another participant if it's different.
I think it's going to be the same. But let's just check. Just check and see. See, it's the same thing. Yes. So okay. So we'll end here, and then I will complete those transcripts to have different responses. Then I will reshare so that we can do the practice while I finish the coding, and then we can see how to do analysis. That works, right?
Yes.
All right. So I'll save my work, Control S, and then I'll stop recording.